Can we avoid technology? Big question. Not too sure we can. I think we're a technological species somehow since the dawn of the apps in the Neolithic times. But I suppose the difference in our technologies is back then it was something very real. It gave us an immediate survival boost, as it were, whereas now it's harder to make that link. And my view is that we're dehumanizing ourselves through all of this. We're losing our ability to critically think and evaluate, to communicate, to mediate, to any number of things. But do I think it's going to stop? Probably not. I think ultimately it's accelerating. We have numerous organizations and people who want to build an AI god based upon all of our inputs that we're typing in every day to all of our social media platforms and internet searches. And I think it's so utterly changed everything that we do and see and how we interact with the world and with each other. I think it'll be very hard to move away from it. That said, I do think there's a general malaise or a despondency in some respects with some of this. I think people might be reaching, or at least a saturation point. For those who've been very online, there are more people getting dumb phones, for example, and people who are trying to spend more time giving themselves boundaries so they're not always online. But whether we end up deciding that we're going to go back to pen, paper, and ledger, probably not. And I dare say those people who are creating the technology will not want us to do that. But I think there are a great number of reasons why we might want to get into some heavy limitation of it, not least because of information warfare and the apps like TikTok that are now being used by foreign adversaries to effectively just ramp up propaganda and that just create attentional deficits in the people that use them, which is kind of what I mean about this dehumanizing impact, and thus a problem with what's then going to happen in society with the people who ultimately end up governing us. So it is a bunch of problems that I think we're going to start reckoning with. And I think you can see that there is concern amongst at least pockets of the political class about this. When we'll start grasping the nettle, I don't know. But no, I think technology is here to stay. We are, I think we're worshippers of technology in some respects. We have an ability to make it somewhat of an idol in our lives. But what's better is a good question. I mean, whatever comes next, or whether it's a hybrid, which is probably more likely, will be determined bottom up, perhaps. And even in a world of increasing surveillance and technological capabilities, there'll be pockets of people who will embody certain practices. That's what values really are. It's the embodiment of practices. It's not us sitting here going, well, we think these values might work, and so let's push those down on people. And so I think it's probably more about going, for those of us who think there might be something not quite right with the way things are, what is it that we're going to do to take responsibility for bringing something new into that world? And that bringing something new might not be something that's new. It might be something that's existed before. We might need to go into the past. The things that we appreciate about now came from back there. So what is it that we need to bring back and embody? And I know one of the post-liberal thinkers, Patrick Deneen, he thinks that what's needed is to do more honour to ourselves, and through that he means to cultivate cultures of community, care, self-sacrifice, and small-scale democracy. That's all true, but also there's going to be a whole realisation of the geopolitical reality that we live in. So I guess, back to that point, we need to learn of what's worthwhile holding on to from the past. And whilst Christendom's gone, liberalism looks like it's on its way out. There are reasons why we might want to fear that. And actually, if there's anything within those traditions that we value, we probably want to save them and start living them.